Mr. Wright, it is always a pleasure to talk to you. One of the most versatile actors in the industry. So thank you so much for taking your time to talk about this tense, thrilling series.
Sure.
Um,
Are you,
let,
where are you now? Are you in Puerto Rico
I'm in
now?
I'm in Puerto Rico, yeah, in San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Oh, you're in San Juan. Cool.
Yeah,
I was
thank
thinking
you,
about
thank you.
dipping
I
down
know you've been
there.
here. I know
Yeah,
you've
I've
been
been
here
down there.
before, so
I've been down there many times. I love it
I
down there.
know.
I was thinking about coming down. There's some swell there.
Oh,
There's some waves
excellent.
in. I was coming down to do some surfing. Maybe we'll see.
That would be awesome. We will be waiting with open arms. So let me start by asking. I really like the relevance of the political themes that the story presents in this series, and after the past elections, it takes on greater relevance. So how was the research process, if any, to provide greater authenticity to your character? Because this is a remake of a 2015 series, but the world has changed so much since.
Yes, like the French series, our series is set in the moment. It's set
Mhm.
in the world as we're experiencing it today. The current kind of geopolitical landscape serves as the backdrop for these characters. And while our series is not overtly political, it takes place inside a heightened political world.
Mhm.
So one of the ways of researching for this show was really just to pay attention to what's happening in the headlines, and not only in the headlines, but in the full article. So,
Exactly.
kind of reading and staying abreast of what's going on, in Central Europe and in the Middle East actually served, my understanding of this character to an extent and of the story that we were trying to tell. It'd be impossible to kind of interpret, the 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 complications and the calculus of the issues that they're facing without, having you know, good deal of references to the outside world. And for me, that's exciting. For me, it makes
Okay.
it immediate. It makes it interesting and fun from a storytelling perspective. And I hope it makes it the same for audiences who take in our show.
Thank you for that. So, one of the for some reason one of the moments that I like the most of the in the episode that I've seen are the interactions between your character and Richard Gere's character. For
Mm.
some reason, it gives a certain degree of levity. There's a subtle sense of tiny subversive humor, and your character with has some certain subtleties with his body language. So, tell me a little bit about working on this aspect with an actor like Richard without without falling into a comedy.
Oh, well, that's good. That's good. Yeah, there should be a little bit of irony in those scenes.
Uh-huh.
Richard was wonderful to work with. Likewise, working with Michael Fassbender was fantastic. We very early on found a way of working together and a way of kind of harmonizing these scenes together that was really gratifying. They're both like just wonderful actors and like great company. You never know when you start a series, you're working with, most often people that you've, never met before and never worked
Mhm.
with before. And uh, it's always up in the air how you're going to do together. But very early on, we found a nice groove, and we all just kind of played well opposite each other. The characters are really sharply drawn, and there's wonderful contrast between all of them, even though they are in the same line of work. Richard plays the chief of station for our office. I'm the deputy chief of station, so there's a bit of hierarchy there, and there's tension inside that. He's kind of my boss, but at the same time, I don't really want to be bossed around, but I'm a part of the machine, so I understand what the rules are. And he's a bit of a cowboy. I'm more kind of by the book, and so yeah, uh, there's a lot of useful stuff inside of that can give us color to that relationship. So yeah, a wonderful guy to work with.
Excellent. Thank you for that. My time is up. And again, hope you had a great time when you come back to Puerto Rico. And probably we'll talk about a little bit more about the Batman off record. So thank you.
Very
Thank you
good.
so much.
Very
Have a
good. I'll
great day.
see you in Santurce.
Thank you, Catherine, for taking these minutes to talk about this thrilling, smart written series. So first, let me ask you, this is a dream cast. At first, I thought it was like a high-profile movie, a film, but it is a high-profile series. So what can you tell me about how hard or difficult was to decide to accept the project when it was presented to you?
Well, I think you've hit on it. When there's such an excellent collection of people, from the writers, the directors, everybody involved in this incredible cast, it's a no-brainer when you get an opportunity like this. It's all what we all want is
Uh-huh.
to be challenged by those who can raise the bar. And, the hope is here that we're all doing that for one another all the time. And that's
Mhm.
definitely what it felt like shooting the first season.
Excellent. Thank you for that. So I was wondering because your character, in my opinion, at least in these first episodes that I watch, is like a kind of like the conscience for some of the characters. Is that like somehow the voice of reason? That to me goes way beyond the mission. So how
Mm.
was it to deal with this aspect of the character within a story that at first can be perceived as cold? However, we begin to see the humanity unravel of these characters.
I mean, the best characters to play have a lot going on. And one thing that really attracted me to the early scripts for the show was that the Butterworths had not shortchanged any of the characters. They all have complexity and a lot going on. Something I think that they really got right about Naomi is being a woman in a man's world means that she goes unobserved often. She may be underestimated often, which allows her to witness so much. If no one's looking at you, you're able to study them and understand them. So I feel she is somebody who is, because it's so much harder for her as a woman to climb the ladder, she's always looking for opportunities to climb it, for opportunities to align with other characters, and certainly also is analyzing everybody all the time. She is a hyper analytical
Yeah.
person, and she also finds refuge in that kind of work. That some of the sort of challenges of is socializing with people, maybe that's all a bit mystifying to her, but she understands her job and she
Okay.
knows how to shine and thrive there. So I think, yeah, I think she's somebody who, as the season goes on, you start to see as somebody that the higher ups really do rely on. And I think she's very proud of that herself. Yeah.
You couldn't explain it better.
Oh, I think I
Okay.
could.
It's beautiful. So I really like the relevance of the political themes that the story presents. And
Mm.
after the past elections, it takes on greater relevance. So how was the research process, if any, to provide greater authenticity to the character? Because although it is an adaptation of a series from 2015, I think the world has changed a lot.
Yes, and it is the CIA.
Mhm.
And so, I think for us coming in, it was incredibly important for us to understand how the CIA functions, and it's a different environment, and um, from the original show, of course. Um, I I just became completely seduced by all the stories about women in the CIA, the long history, and the incredible uh, inequality within the CIA in the early years, and how women have navigated that over time. I didn't know, as I was researching, how it would serve the show per se. Often research is just uh, looking for something that will spark your imagination. You don't know what that will be, and you don't necessarily always know where to look for it. So you kind of look everywhere. And I found, and I read about the women in the past, what I saw was a pattern of the kind of person that would end up there. And it was hugely helpful to me to dig around. And I felt too a responsibility to get it right for the women who work in the CIA. And I'd read some things about them being disappointed in some representations in the past. And um, you know, you go through polygraph after polygraph to just get the job, you know, the kind of level-headedness and calm that you've got to be able to manage, and all the stress you've got to be able to manage. You know, I think some of the criticism I'd seen in the past was about everybody in a panic all the time. I heard this great anecdote about a CIA agent who she was incredibly successful and very talented at her job. And she was meeting with someone I'd met with on the show, and someone said, "Look under the table." So from the waist up, she was completely level. And he looked under the table, and her leg was just jittering. So that this idea that there's this low hum of anxiety, but you can tamp it down and you can think clearly whilst feeling that. I found that very, like, I really used that. Naomi is always kind of fidgeting. She's got something in her hand. She's got little stress balls on her desk, and, you know, some kind of outlet for the stress so that the mind can stay clear.
Oh my God, I'm gonna look out for that. So thank you so much. My time is up again.
Thank
Congratulations on
you.
such a wonderful
Thanks
series.
so much.
Thank you so much.